2025, paper 1. The expression PQ plus 5R minus 5Q minus PR is equal to, well, this is a simple factorization by grouping. These two have nothing in common. So I will bring the PQ and the PR next to each other. So I will end up with PQ minus PR. And I want the next two terms to have Q first and then R. So I'll have minus 5Q plus 5R, factorizing P into Q minus R. Take away 5 into Q minus R. Q minus R into P minus 5. A is the answer. This factorizes completely as, and this is where I'm going to show you all to utilize your calculators to the best of all your abilities. When you see we have the calculators allowed in an exam, use it as a very, very handy resource. All I'm gonna do, I'm gonna solve the polynomial. Most calculators are using supposed to be able to write 2, 1, minus 7 and minus 6 are the coefficients. One of the answers is negative 1.5. So I've just put in that here, right? Negative 1.5 is the same thing as negative 3 over 2. That is one of the roots. Another root is 2. And another root is minus 1. Which one of these options gives me a root of minus 1? These two here will give me a root of minus 1. Both of them will also give me a root of positive 2. But which one will give me a root of negative 3 over 2? This one will give me the root negative 3 over 2. So my answer is D. Oh, well, whoever did this would have already shaded all the answers. Alright, that is no sin. I now notice that. Alright. Given that ax squared plus bx plus c, then f of x can be expressed in the form. Alright. So we're trying to complete the square here, right? And the first thing we're going to do when we complete the square, some of us are going to know the formulas. A is equal to A. H is equal to minus b on 2a. Sorry, b over 2a. And k is equal to, I can't remember the formula for k, right? But what we can do, we can go through the regular way to complete a square, which I showed everybody here. We're going to have a into x plus b x squared plus b over ax plus b over 2a all squared, because half the coefficient of x is b over 2a all squared, plus c, and I had to take away a into b over 2a all squared. So all of them giving me the first thing here, right? All of them giving me the same thing. So I just going to figure out how this going to be simplified and see which one of the answers corresponds to the simplification. C minus, that is ab squared over 2a squared. Well, the a and the a squared could cancel, and again 2a underneath here. Let me calculate the LCM. I'll get 2ac minus b squared. Sorry, 4a squared. I'll get 4a on the denominator. I'll get 4ac minus b squared all over 4a. Yeah. So 4ac minus b squared all over 4a. The answer is C. So I don't know if this is a student paper or if somebody did this solution and bring it, but the answer for this is indeed C. Alright, now because of this, it making me double guess myself, right? It making me question myself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to double check the answer and make sure that I ain't going mad. Once I do this, I can be confident to know that whoever shaded the answers are prone to making mistakes. Yeah, it's 4ac minus b squared over 4a. So whoever did these solutions, get this one wrong. I don't know if it's a student or if it's a teacher. All right. The values of x for which x plus 15 squared is equal to 64x are, Alright, we can do one of two things here, right? We can square root both sides, or we can expand and rearrange and then solve. So let me do that, because we have a calculators. X squared plus 30x plus 15 squared is, is what, boy? 15 squared is 225. And how to bring in minus 64x is equal to 0. 30 take away 64 is what? Can't be too sure, you know. Minus 34. So x squared minus 34x plus 225 is equal to 0. When I solve this on my calculator, 1 minus 34 and 225. 25 and 9. Good. Which of the following graphs best represents f of x is equal to 1 x into 1 plus x? So this here is going to be a positive x squared, so I know it's going to be a smiley face. So it's either going to be A or C. It cuts the x-axis when x is 0 and when this is 0. So when this is 0, x is going to be minus 1. So the answer is indeed A. A quadratic equation is such that the sum of the roots is minus 1/2 and the product of the roots is 2/3. So the equation is x squared. Take away the sum of the roots, which is minus 1/2 x, plus the product of the roots, which is 2/3. So multiply everything by 6. 6x squared plus 3x plus 4. 6x squared plus 3x plus 4. Yeah, them get this one correct. The set of values of x for which this is greater than or equal to 0 is given by. So this is where I'm going to show you the shortcut for paper ones. Paper ones don't need to see no working. Alright? And we know that how the way in which we do these questions are, we must multiply by the square of the denominator. But really and truly what we're doing, we put in the numerator equal to 0, denominator equal to 0, and figuring out the value of x. So one of the value of x will come from 5x. I want to say that's a plus 2. A lie. That's going to have to be a minus 2. Because this here is 2/5, 2/5, 2/5, and 2/5. So I'm going to get 2/5 to be a critical value. And x going to be 2/5. And the next critical value going to be 2 minus 3x is equal to 0. And x is equal to positive 2/3. Now this quadratic is going to be a negative x squared, because we have the 5x and when I multiply by the square, the denominator, multiply by minus 3x. So I'm going to get this face here. And we want to know whether that is greater than 0. It's greater than 0 over here. Now which one of these is bigger? Is 2/5 bigger than 2/3? No. 2/5 is smaller. So brethren, u is 2/5. Soldier boy, u is 2/3. It's going to be one of these two here, where 2/5 come first. We cannot include 2/3 as an answer. So because when we have 2/3, this becomes 0. So it's going to be 2/5 less than or equal to x less than 2/3 is my answer. The answer is indeed D. The values of x for which 8 is less than x squared plus minus 2x are, alright, another simple inequality to solve. I'm going to throw the 8 on that side. 0 is less than x squared minus 2x minus 8. When I interchange both sides of the inequality, I'm going to get the sign changing as well. X squared minus 2x minus 8 is going to be greater than 0. It's going to be a positive x squared. I want to see which part my what my critical values are. A is 1, B is minus 2, C is minus 8. 4 and minus 2. Minus 2 and 4 is going to be x is less than minus 2 union x is more than 4. So the answer is 8. Now ideally it's supposed to have and in between here, because this both sets of values will satisfy this inequality. this can be expressed as, so let me do hot up we head, right? This is a technique I would show you guys for add maths, for pure maths, unit 1, unit 2, for applied maths as well, where it's applicable. If you have a numerical question, meaning you have to calculate a value of something, calculate the value of it, and see which one of the answers corresponds to that value by calculating the value of the answers as well. So in this case, 8 plus root 5 into 2 minus root 5, that has a value, and write it down, that is minus 2.416407.865. Now I decided to write out the entire number just to make sure. What is 11 take away 6 root 5? 11 take away 6 root 5. That is minus 2.416407.865. It is indeed the answer. Let's check and see the others just to show you all how we're going to eliminate and make sure that we have the correct answer. 21 take away 6 root 5. That is 7.5. We're looking for negative 2.416 and change. Now these two here could never ever in the world give me a negative number, because it's 11 plus something and it's 10 plus something. Cool? So we could never get a negative number for C and D. So I know that for sure the answer is A. The value of x for which 4 to the power, I'm going to assume that x plus 1. I'm going to get 2 to the power 2x plus 2. Alright, are supposed to know how we get any 2x plus 2. It's going to be 2 squared, into x plus 1. So 2x plus 2 is equal to 1. 2x is equal to 1 take away 2, which is minus 1. And x is minus a half. So with that being said, none of my answers here corresponds to x is equal to negative a half. So that means the question here, the power needs to be minus 1. If the power is minus 1, I'm going to get 2x is equal to 1 plus 2, and x is equal to 3 over 2. So the answer is C. Given that log of x cubed to base 2 is 6, the value of x is, alright, so I'm going to say, changing this to index form, 2 to the power 6 is equal to x cubed. If I cube root both sides, if we don't know how to go and expand 2 to the power 6, guys, cube rooting both sides is the same thing as saying raising both sides to the power of a third. 6 by a third is 2. So 2 squared is equal to x, and x is equal to 4. If the relationship between v and t is given by v is equal to 6 multiplied by 5 to the power t, write that down, 6 multiplied by 5 to the power of t. I see somebody now coming there. This may be reduced to linear formed. So we're going to have log v is equal to log, I use my laws one time, log 6 plus t log 5. So it's supposed to be t log 5 coming first if you want it in the form y is mx plus c. But, alright, so part B already had it in this particular form. You have to review your laws of logs in order to go from here to here. I did skip a lot of steps in between, but that's the power of understanding your working paper ones. Alright, let me just oblige and do it for those who probably confused, right? Log v is log of the whole right hand side, 6 multiplied by 5 to the power t. I'll use the law that's splitting up the multiplication, log 6 plus log 5 to the power t, and then I'll use the law that brings the power down, that is t log 5. Log v here change. For the arithmetic progression, the nth term, so t sub n is equal to a plus n minus 1 by d. A is 12, plus n minus 1 multiplied by d gonna be, what is that, 8 take away 3 is 5. Alright, so from here to here, we add in 5, but the easiest way to find out what d is from this set of numbers is taking away the term after, take away the term before. I'm not gonna say 7 take away minus 12. I just gonna say 8 take away 3, and I get 5. 12 plus 5n minus 5. 12 take away 5 is 7. Eight minus 3 is 5, yeah. 5 and a is minus 12. Sorry. So minus 12 minus 5 is minus 17. So 5 and minus 17. The answer is C. A sequence of positive integers u sub n is defined by u sub n is equal to 3 into 1 over 2. I'm going to say n minus 1, right? That is sequence of positive integers. So this is each integer here. The 10th term in the sequence is going to be, that is going to be u10. It's 3 into 1/2 to the power 9. We had to go on the calculator here. 1/2 to the power 9 is 1 over 512, and 3 over 512 is the answer. Alright, cool. We have it exactly ready. Good. So if a question in AdMaths asking you for converges to, or you see the word converges, two things you need to remember. It's going to be a geometric progression, and you're going to have to calculate the sum to infinity. So we know that our a is minus 2, r is equal to, so let me go with 4/3 divided by minus 2. That's minus 2/3. So S infinity is a over 1 minus r minus 2 over 1 minus minus 2/3. So minus 2 divided by, open brackets, 1 plus 2/3 minus 6 over 5. The answer is C. A line L passes through the point 6, 5 and is perpendicular to a line whose equation is 3x plus 4y. The equation of L is, okay, nice question. So first let's get the gradient of this line, and then we'll get the gradient of L, which is perpendicular to this line. So this line, the gradient, I am focusing on the minus 7 at all. That is a non-issue for me when I'm trying to grab gradient. So 4y will be equal to minus 3x, and we're going to be plus 7. I ain't going to bother. When I divide both sides by 4, I get the gradient to be 3/4. So the gradient of L is going to be 4 over 3. I'll flip and I'll change the sign. A point on L is 6, 5. Now what we can do, we can check each of these and see which one gives me a gradient of 4 over 3. But that might be a little bit too much. So what we could do, let me just go ahead and calculate the equation. x1, y1, y minus y1 is m into x minus x1. I'm multiplying everything by 3. Alright, so I'm going to get 3y minus 15 is equal to 4 into x minus 6. 3y is equal to 4x minus 24, and I'm going to plus the 15 on this side. I be no hero. Minus 24 plus 15 is minus 9. So I have minus 9 on the right. I'm bringing everything on the left. I'm going to get 3y minus 4x minus 9 comes across to be plus 9 is equal to 0. Now none of these here corresponds to that, and the only one that has a 9 is here. But if you pay attention very closely, this is a positive 4x. We have a negative 4x. So what the question did, which is very smart on behalf of CXE, right? Good job, CXE. they would have just said multiply both sides by -1 to get the 4x minus 3y minus 9 is equal to 0. So the answer is A. Now what they should have done, they should have given us another option with -9 in the mix. They should have. But oh well. A circle C has center 3, -2, and radius 4. The equation of the circle is... So I've seen all of these equations are of the form x squared plus y squared plus 2fx plus 2gy plus c is equal to 0. I am going to go through that. What I going to do, I go in and get x minus 3 squared plus y minus -2 squared is equal to 4 squared. And then I go and expand. X squared minus 6x plus 9 plus y squared, that's a plus 2, so plus 4y plus 4 is equal to 16. I'm going to try to eliminate. I know x squared plus y squared will always be there. I'm looking to see which one gives me a minus 6x and a plus 4y. This is the only one that gives me minus 6x and plus 4y. So that's going to be my answer. And when we simplify as well, 9 plus 4 is 13. Move the 13 across, we're going to get minus 13. 16 minus 13 is 3. Bring it back across, we're going to get minus 3 to be the constant. The lines this and this intersect at the point P. The coordinates of P are, alright, so from equation 2, from this, I'm going to get 3x minus 5 is equal to y, and plug that into here. 7x minus 4 into 3x minus 5 plus 25 is equal to 0. 7x minus 12x plus 20 plus 25 is equal to 0. 7 take away 12. I can't be too sure. 7 minus 12 is minus 5. Minus 5x is equal to, move the 45 on that side. Oops, minus 45, sorry. And x is going to be positive 9. The only answer that has x as positive 9 is going to be the option A. So you'll find this happening a lot of times in our paper ones. Once you get piece of the answer, check and see which of the options give you a piece of the answer. If only one option gives you that piece of the answer, well, we in Niceville, right? We happy. OA is that and OB is that. So AB is equal to AO plus OB, which is negative OA plus OB. Negative OA is going to be 17 minus 25, and we add in 4, 5. So 17 and 4 going and give me 21. Minus 25 plus 5 is minus 20. So the answer is D. Now, yes, I will be leaving out a lot of lines, a lot of statements and stuff in your paper ones, but we really don't need it. Again, if you'll have any questions, feel free to voice them. The position vector of 2 points A and B relative to an origin O are given by OA and OB respectively. The modulus of AB, modulus, if you all don't know, is just the magnitude of the vector. And the angle AB makes with the x-axis respectively are, so you see how they give us 2 answers with 10 and 2 answers with root 50? We're glad with that. They also gave us 2 answers with 45. We're glad with that. As teachers, we are glad with that. Well, let me get what AB is. AB is again minus OA plus OB, which is minus 3, 0 plus 8, 5. Minus 3 plus 8 is 5, 5, 5. So what is going to be the magnitude of this vector? 5 5s are 25 plus 25. And the square root of that is going to give me the square root of 50. So it's either this or this. And let's check and see what the angle is. Now, we don't have to go through the tan inverse, you know. if you could, and we draw this vector by watching the coordinates, we're going to get 5, 5. That is the vector A, which means this is the angle we want. If this is 5 and this is 5, that's a isosceles triangle. The base angles in an isosceles triangle are equal. If Soldier Boy is 90, U and U must be 45 degrees. So the answer is indeed C. And if you didn't know, it's going to be tan inverse of the y over x, which is tan inverse of 5 over 5. Tan inverse of 1 is 45 degrees. If AB is that, a vector, or if A is equal to that, the vector B is parallel to A, and the modulus of B is 25, then B is equal to, alright, they give me two pieces of information here. It's parallel, and it actually gave me the magnitude of B. All I'm going to do, I'm going to check and see which one of these vectors gives me a magnitude of 25. So going through with the first one, 20 squared plus 15 squared. I'm not going to put minus 15 all squared because I'm going to get a positive. So 20 squared plus 15 squared is 625. The magnitude of this will be 25, but that doesn't mean that our A is the answer. I want to check and see if any of the others gives me a magnitude of 25. Well, I know 4 and 3 not going to give me a magnitude of 25, and I'm still going to put this here. The magnitude is 25. For this one, the magnitude going to be 5. Next one will be 100 squared plus 75 squared. Does this have a square root? The square root of this, the magnitude of this is 125. And then 514 squared. This one will have a magnitude of 1. So we get 4/5 squared plus 3/5 squared (4/5 and 3/5). I put 514. Okay. 4/5 all squared, which is 9 on 4. 3/5 all squared. Sorry, 16 on 4. 16 on 25. Why doing by 16 on 25 plus 3/5 squared is 9 on 25. Square root of that is 1. So the magnitude of this is going to be 1. So the answer is indeed A. Eight pi on 5 radians converted to degrees. So when we change in from radians to degrees, we do not have pi in our answer. So what was we multiply by? Do we multiply by pi over 180, or do we multiply by 180 over pi? Well, if pi cannot be the answer, it have to be multiplying by 180 over pi. The pi go cancel with the pi. This is your calculator job. 8 multiplied by 180. 1440 divided by 5. 288. The exact value of this gives, again, we have a numerical figure that we can calculate. Sine 150 divided by cosine 150 is negative 0.577. 350269. Again, I will overdo it a little bit. I know my answer is negative, so it could only be one of these two. What's negative root 3? Negative root 3 is 1.73 and change. It's not the answer. I'm still going to double check. What's negative 1 over root 3? Negative 0.577350269. So the answer is indeed B. Alright, the figure below shows a semicircle of radius 4. The perimeter of the figure in centimeters is, if the radius is 4, then the circumference is 2 pi r. So 2 pi by 4, which is going to be 8 pi. But that is circumference of the whole circle. Since it's half of a circle, divide this by 2. We get 4 pi to be this distance here. And then we had to add 4 plus 4, which is 8. So 4 pi plus 8. Which one of these gives us 4 pi plus 8? 4 pi plus 8. The answer is D. If tan theta is 5/12 and theta is reflex, then sine theta is... Alright, so watch how we can cheat the system using the calculators, right? Everybody calculator has the option to store an answer in a particular space. In this calculator, I'm going to store things in spaces A. I'm going to maximize this, right? You all can see spaces A, B, C, D, E, and F. Those are the spaces I can save things in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to calculate what theta is. Theta is tan inverse of 5/12. Tan inverse of 5/12. Again, something irrational. But my calculator knows the whole value of this, so I'm going to store that in A. Alright? Theta is stored in A. Sine theta, which is sine of A, is 0.384615384. That is sine of theta. I want to see which one of these answers is 3.84 and so on. 12 divided by 13. No. 5 divided by 12. No. 5 divided by 13. Well, I say negative. 5 divided by 13. Yes. And 12 divided by 13. No. Now, two things I want all to take into consideration here. We know that how 5 on 13 is this. But for some reason, this is not negative. And we have to remember that how the question telling me theta is reflex. If theta is reflex, then only cosine will be positive. So since theta is reflex, tan is going to be negative. So it's negative 5 on 13. Right, the other way to do this is drawing a right angle triangle. Theta, tan theta is opposite over adjacent. By Pythagoras theorem, this is 13. Sine theta is going to be opposite over hypotenuse, which is 5/13. And again, theta is reflex. Sorry. So since theta is reflex, sine go be negative. My bad. Right, I was focusing on tan. Sine going to be negative. Cool. So I take back my previous statement there. If theta is reflex, then these two are going to be negative. All right, they're not going to be negative. Theta is reflex going to be in these two positions here, and for a reflex angle, sine going to be negative. Let's put that out there. The graph of y is equal to sine 2x. For those of you who are comfortable with all the trigonometric graphs, one revolution for sine x is 360 degrees or 2 pi. So I'll put that here. 1 rev is 2 pi. And this 1 rev comes from this number here, sine 1x. Alright? So 1 revolution takes place in 2 pi. And a revolution is 1 up and 1 down. 1 up. That is 1 revolution day. Cool? If we have sine 2x, that means 2 revolutions will be taking place in 2 pi. So the number in front of x telling me how much revolutions happening every 2 pi. Well, over here, 1 revolution happen in 2 pi. Over here, 2 revolutions happen in 2 pi. The answer is C. Over here, just saying 1 revolution, 2 revolution, 3 revolution, 4 revolution happen here. So this is sine 4x. The top one, the first one, that is half of a revolution. So this is sine a half x. So this number 27 and number 25 is very, very similar. Given that cos x is equal to 3/5 and x is acute. If x is acute, all trigonometric ratios are positive. The value of sine 2x is, I'm going to do the same thing again. x is equal to cos inverse of 3/5. Cos inverse of 3/5. Sine 2x. Now my calculator, I don't have to store it. I could just say sine of 2 multiplied by the answer is 0.96. And 0.96 as a fraction is 24/25. Alright, cosine of a plus b plus cosine of a minus b. It have an easy way to do this and then it have a hard way to do this, right? I can assign values for a and b and then work out what those things are, calculate it on my calculator and see which one of the answers they correspond to, or I can just use the compound angle formula. I'll do both. Using the compound angle formula, cosine of a plus b is cos a cos b minus sine a sine b. And then cosine of a minus b is going to be cos a cos b plus sine a sine b. When I add both of them together, u and u go away. When I add these two, I'll get 2 cos a cos b. Now the next way we can do this question is we let a be a number and let b be a different number. So if I now let it be something real out there, like let a be equal to, let a be equal to 1.4273 and let b equals to 4.67. Now I know some of them might want to do this. Alright, and on your calculators, go ahead and work out what cosine of a plus b. So cosine, well, here what I'm going to do. To make life real nice, I'm going to store 1.4273. I'm going to store that in a. And I'm going to store 4.67. I'm going to store that in b. So cosine, open brackets, a plus b. So knowing how to use your calculator is going to be extremely important. Plus cosine of a minus b. Again, 1.9927 change. 41836. Now the reason I'm picking real weird values is because there are coincidences that happens where if I use nice numbers, nice values, we could get more than one answer. What is 2 cos a? Let me check. 2 cosine a. It's 1.999. It's not exactly like that. What is 2 cos a cos b? 2 cos a cos b is 1.99274186. So we know that what the answer is indeed b. I'm just going to show you all how to do the calculations for the squares. Cosine squared a is the same thing as cosine a all squared. Please notice how I put my brackets. Multiplied by cosine b all squared. We get 0.992755, which is not it. And well, 2 cos a plus 2 cos b, or I could plug that in our calculator as well and see that all they're not going to get the correct answers. I used a to be this and b to be this, or I could pick any answers for any values for a and b. I can even do it here as well. I can pick a value for x, calculate what the expression is when x is equal to something, and see which one of the answers it simplifies to, instead of going through the whole trigonometric proof. Because I know trigonometric proofs are sometimes difficult for you guys. So let me take a look at how we're going to do this one, right? Let x be 6.7. So I'm going to save 6.7 in some slot, right? Save that in. I'm going to rewrite slot A. Now slot A is going to be 6.7. So cos A minus sine A. So cosine A on my calculator, take away sine A multiplied by cosine A plus sine A. This is the number for my numerator divided by I'll open a bracket and then I'll open another bracket to put the entire denominator on the denominator. Open brackets. I open two brackets. 1 minus sine A multiplied by 1 plus sine A. Close brackets, and I'll close my bracket. So that whole denominator, 1 minus sine x into 1 plus sine x, because I put that whole thing in a bracket, it's on the denominator. I get 0.9862000093. So let me check and see which one of the answers corresponds to this. So 1 take away open bracket tan A all squared 0.9862000093. So the answer is indeed A. And I mean, by now I should have shown you all enough examples as to how we could test the second option, the third option, and the fourth option to see which one of these numbers corresponds to this here. Again, I let x be 6.7, or I could let x be whatever I want. For theta between, for x between 0 and 360, the equation has only one real solution given by, alright, now I'm trying to see is an easy way to do this one, right? Alright, let me go through the solving the equation. So 3 sine squared x is going to be 1 minus cos squared x is 8 cos x. So 3 minus 3 cos squared x is equal to 8 cos x. Move everything on the right hand side. 3 cos squared x plus 8 cos x minus 3 is equal to 0. Let me factorize and see what we get for the answers. Now this is a quadratic in terms of cos x. So A is 3, B is 8, and C is minus 3. I'm going to get cos x is equal to a third, and I'm going to get cos x is equal to negative 3. So cos x is equal to a third is indeed one of the answers. Cos x is equal to negative 3 has no solutions, just by the way. So this will be the only real solution. Alright, we're into differentiation territory now. So this is going to be 7x squared plus 4 raised to the power of a half, which is equal to 1/2 into 14x into 7x squared plus 4 to the power minus a half. So I'm going to get 7x on the numerator, and I'm going to get 7x squared plus 4, the square root of that on the denominator. So the answer is B. Alright, the velocity time graph, which represents the position as a function of time for a moving object over 8 seconds. Which of the following statements about the object's motion is true? Now, when they're asking for true and false or correct and not correct statements, go through all of them, just to make sure there's only one correct or one true statement in this particular case. So part A, the object covers the same distance during M and R. So M, the object covers the same distance. So the distance traveled is going to be the area underneath the graph. So the area of this particular portion is not the same as the area of this particular portion here. So this here is not true. The object moves with uniform velocity during F. So yes, because this is represented by a straight line, it's uniform velocity. If it was a curve, it's not going to be uniform velocity. So you are true. Part C, the object does not accelerate during T. So during T, it's constant velocity. So the particle it doesn't accelerate. There's no acceleration because there's no change in velocity. All right? So this is also true. A lie. This will be false. We are accelerating, so we are changing velocity going up here. It's not going to be a uniform velocity. We are changing velocity. Cool? The object is at rest during m. So at m just says constant velocity. This here is a constant velocity of 10 meters per second, so you are wrong. So I'm going to say the answer for this is indeed C. Next, the derivative of this. Now, learning how to perform the product rule and the quotient rule mentally, not really mentally, but without all the statements, is very useful, especially when it comes to Unit 2 work for those of you who are venturing into doing pure maths. So, what you could do, you could say U and V multiplied by du dx plus U multiplied by dv dx. I'll get 2 cosine 2x. So sine 2x plus 2x cosine 2x. Sine 2x plus 2x cosine 2x. The answer is indeed A. If y is that, then dy dx is so by so. Now, for the quotient rule questions, you're going to realize something most of the time. Hopefully, we realize it. All the denominators are the same thing. X plus 3 squared, x plus 3 squared, x plus 3 squared, x plus 3 squared. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to try and figure out what the numerator is. This is U, this is V. V by du dx minus U by dv dx. I'm going to bother with the denominator, right? Multiplying out, I'll get 2x squared plus 6x. Take away x squared. I'm going to get x squared plus 6x, which is going to be x into x plus 6. X into x plus 6. The answer is indeed D. If f of x is equal to, oh, gee, we had to differentiate twice. So let me take my time and do it, right? So if sine 3x, when we differentiate sine 3x, so I'll put it on the side, the first derivative is going to be 3 cosine 3x. When I differentiate cosine, I get negative sine. So this changes to a plus 4 sine 4x. Differentiate again. When I differentiate cosine, I get negative sine. So I'll get minus 9. Well, the only one that has a minus 9 is part D. Make sure minus 9 sine 3x is what we're looking at. Yes, we are looking at that. Alright, so let me just finish it off. Then we're going to get plus 16 cosine 4x, which is corresponding to D in its entirety. Alright, number 36, we actually have the shortcut we can use for the chain rule, but in integration. So add 1 to the power, divide by the power. 3x minus 5 to the power of 5 all over 5. So it could either be here or here. And we must differentiate the bracket and divide by it. So when I differentiate the bracket, I'm going to get 3. I'll divide by it, which means I'm putting it on the denominator. So it becomes multiplied by 3. So 15 is the denominator. Well, we now do one similar with sines and cosines, right? What I like to do, I like to say, hey, if y is cos x, differentiated, I go get minus sine x. So when I integrate in sine, I'm going to get negative cosine. So when I integrate this, I'm going to get sine x, no sin. When I integrate this, I'm going to get minus cosine. So the minus cosine could change the minus to a plus. So sine x plus 2 cos x, sine x plus 2 cos x. I know we have to add in the constant, but it's paper 1. Mentally know that you have to put in a constant there, okay? I'm going to say that out. This is x squared on the end here, right? Between 2 and 1. So when I integrate, I'll get x plus x squared over 2 plus x cubed over 3 between 2 and 1, 2 plus 2 squared over 2 plus 2 cubed over 3, take away 1 plus a half plus a third. I'm going to put the cube and stuff because 1 squared, 1 cubed, that's still going to give me 1. Alright, so this is where again the calculator is going to come into play. So this is 2 plus 2 plus 8 on 3. Take away, open brackets, 1 plus a half plus a third. Four and 5, 6. The answer is C. The gradient of the tangent to the curve at C is given by 9x squared minus 4. The equation of the curve that passes through the point, okay, so we have to integrate. So when I integrate 9x squared plus 4, I'll get 9x cubed over 3 minus 4x, and I'll have to add in the constant c. That's going to give me y. So when x is minus 1, y is 2. So I'm going to get 2 is equal to 3 into minus 1 cubed minus 4 into minus 1 plus c. Work out the constant c now. 2 is equal to minus 1 cubed is minus 1. So this is minus 3 plus 4 plus c. Minus 3 and 4 is 1. Move the 1 across. 2 minus 1 is equal to c. And I get c to be equal to positive 1. So I'm looking at 3x cubed minus 4x plus 1. The answer is E. Alright. Which of the following represents the area of the shaded region? So I can see that the region is bounded by a curve, by 2 vertical lines, and by the x-axis. So there's 4 things that needs to happen before I write down this. So it's going to be the integral, I'm going to put it down next to the answers, the integral between 4 and 1 of, that is x squared plus 1 dx. So 4 and 1, 4 and 1, x squared plus 1, x squared plus 1, the answer is D. Right, just make sure they're asking for area, not volume, right? Just make sure. Joseph collects data on the color of cars passing in his yard. The data can be described as, so quantitative data is numerical data. We're dealing with colors here, all right? So I'm gonna put this here. Quantitative is numerical. Qualitative is going to be descriptive. So one time I know this is going to be qualitative because we're describing the colors of cars. Continuous can take a value, any value within a range. Like height, like weight, like 1.527 meters or seconds and so on. And discrete can take specific separate values. Usually we will take discrete data to be numbers, like 1, 2 whole numbers, or like number of children, things that cannot be separated into points. I mean, we go down the road. So by listing all of these definitions for the data, it's going to be both qualitative and discrete. Item 42 refers to the diagram which shows a box and whisker plot of heights of male and female students in a physics class. Okay, so this is a vertical box and whisker. Which of the following values describes the range of the heights in the class? So they didn't say the range of heights for the male and the female, so it's in the whole class. So we're going to have combining both box and whiskers. The range is the highest value take away the lowest value. So this is 170, 170, 172. This is 173. That the highest, and the lowest is 155. So 173 take away 155. Watch me, I can't be too sure. 173 take away 155. 18. Answer is indeed A. Alright, so the 50th percentile is defined as, that's the middle, that's the median. A fair six-sided die is ruled. Given that an odd number has turned up, what's the probability that it is a prime number? Now, the total number of possible outcomes for a six-sided dice is going to be 6. But now that they specify that given an odd number has turned up, our total number of possible outcome changes, which means our sample space changes to be odd numbers, because they're asking out of the odd numbers that turned up, which is prime. So the odd numbers, we have 3, so that's the total number of possible outcomes. We want to know which of those 3 odd numbers can be prime. We're going to have the odd numbers is 1, 3, and 5. Yes, 2 is a prime number, but given that we are talking about odd number turning up, these are the numbers that can turn up. And out of these numbers, they want to know what's the probability that it is prime. We have 2 prime numbers here, which is going to be 2/3. So the answer for this is 2/3. 2 unbiased coins are flipped simultaneously, and the results are recorded. Which of the following possibility space diagrams represents the event? Me watching it. 2 coins are flipped simultaneously. So we can either, well, if 2 coins are flipped, right, we could have a heads and a tails, and then a heads and a tails here. Heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, tails, tails. Well, looking at the 4 diagrams, the only one that has the heads and the tails as the outcomes is going to be the first option, so option A. Alright, not too bad. Not too bad at all.